Okay, it is now 6:30. We can start our work session. We'll start, does anybody have any issues with the minutes of the organizational meeting or the regular meeting on April 13th? Not, hold on. We have listed correspondence this evening. We have 5 pieces. First is from the Town of Lancaster Building Department, providing a report of their building permits and applications, et cetera, from April 2nd to April 16th, 2026. We have correspondence from Andrew Devins dated April 15th, providing his resignation as a member of the Zoning Board of Appeals, effective immediately upon the consideration of his recent appointment as Deputy Village Attorney and Village Prosecutor. Third is correspondence from Robert Heil, SLA Solutions, providing a waiver request on behalf of Orchard Park Hospitality in Corton, doing business as Wayland Brewing Company located at 11 West Main Street, to waive the 30-day notification requirement related to its on-premise liquor license application for its establishment for the purpose of expediting the licensing process. I would recommend that we approve that. There's no reason to hold them up. Correspondence from Lancaster Hook and Ladder Fire Company providing a special events application for its Karuba Chicken Barbecue to be held on June 6, 2026 at our Public Works property on Broadway. And correspondence from the Lancaster Police Department providing a special event application for its National Night Out event to be held on August 4th, 2026 in the Cayuga Creek Park area. To the best of my knowledge, this is the first time Lancaster has ever done this. The PU has done it right from day one, so it's nice to see that they want to do that, and I would definitely recommend that we approve that. Any questions with the correspondence, issues, resolutions? We have several this evening. One is to cancel the May 25th, 2026 work session and regular meeting of the Village Board of Trustees due to the Memorial Day holiday. I know you're all going to fight that, but I think we should do that. Resolution to adopt the annual budget for the fiscal year from June 1st, 2026 through May 31st, 2027, as presented with a tax rate of $7.74 per 1,000 taxable assessed valuation, and then over tax levy change of 2.49% and a tax rate change of 1.27. I think that's admirable in this economy.
Yep.
I think we've been able to provide excellent services to our residents and still keep the cost down. Wayne, thank you very much for your diligence. Things go through the Public Works Department, and that's a good reflection on your department. Mike, again, thank you for stellar work on that. Excuse me. Third resolution is authorizing myself as mayor to sign and approve a license agreement with Flock Safety for the installation of Flock hardware on the Lancaster Municipal Building roof, including cameras, drones, poles, clamps, solar panels, installation components, and other devices as necessary. Any issues with that?
Has Flock looked at that yet? Like, 'cause Art had modification to it?
I don't know.
Flock
I haven't heard
reviewed it?
anything from
Okay.
Flock. I have no idea.
You're looking at me, no.
I'm just,
That was all.
No.
By the way, I noticed that first paragraph, very at the preamble, there, we've got to put in Village of Lancaster. So,
Okay.
as the licensor, that committee. If we're go ahead.
Okay. Can we write that in tonight?
Yeah.
If the board wants to go in, and then we'll go there. If the board wants to approve it, it's up to them. But I think we should go ahead with it. I think it's been researched, and we've had enough public comment on it. We've been able to consider the concerns of everybody, and I think it's the things are in place to move forward with it. Fourth resolution is authorizing myself. I'm sorry. Fifth is. It's fourth resolution, authorizing myself as mayor to sign an improvement intermunicipal cooperating agreement with the town of Lancaster to allow the installation of a Flock drone and housing for the protection of the public on the roof of the municipal buildings with terms as noted in the agreement. This resolution was tabled at our last meeting, just as a note. So, any comments, questions with that?
so, a couple things. I appreciate Captain Smith, express my gratitude to the chief for the dialogue on this. We were able to work out some ways to hopefully protect the data that's being retained by Flock through the drones, and by reducing the retainment period to 20 days instead of 30. Additionally, I know there were safety concerns expressed by members of the public and myself, to be honest, as far as privacy goes with the drone recording. So the police have agreed to leave the recording off until it reaches the scene of whatever incident it's investigating, unless the operator determines there's a valid reason to turn it on to gather evidence before they get there. But the chief said that would be recorded as part of like the auditable like log for the drone. Finally, the chief confirmed that they'll be using multi-factor authentication to make sure that the users who have access to it have that extra layer of protection, which is standard nowadays. Multi-factor is just. So I think, you know, those three things make me feel more comfortable about this process. And I would just note if folks, I know in the audience today have issues with Flock itself, you know, that does have to go to the board. We have no jurisdiction to approve or deny anything with Flock. I have a question though. The previous resolution is in agreement with Flock, is with the town. If Flock comes back and says we don't agree to those terms, what happens to the second resolution then? Is this one contingent on Flock's agreement?
Well, yeah, because there's not, if Fox says no, nothing is going to be installed upstairs.
Okay.
So it's, we have an agreement in the town that hasn't been executed.
Okay, all right. That's it. I just-
Okay, anything? Very good. Any other comments? I know it was kind of a.
Should we do them in different orders? Can we switch the resolution order here? Would it make sense to do number 4 first and then number 3?
We can do that if you like, sure.
Because if number 4 doesn't pass, there's no reason. to
Yeah,
do
it's
number 3.
kind of irrelevant now, isn't it? Okay, we'll switch that.
I mean, we discuss our feelings on it too in general.
Yeah. I mean, so I'd like to speak about it a little bit. I've, over the past few weeks, done a lot of research and a lot of thinking about this. And I've gone to the point of listening to people and asking people who are not involved at all, sending them information, saying people whose opinions I respect. The argument that there are issues with Flock is a good one. There are issues, but if you look at it as this is a 90-day experiment right now for what we're agreeing. It is the fact of, I know what I've said before, that it's the fact of us just parking it up there. I understand the argument that by doing so, we're enabling them. It's a legitimate, I would just say this much, that it's a legitimate concern. It's not a concern of people who have gripes that are not legitimate. Just say that much.
Oh, no, and I would agree, John. I mean, that's why we work together.
And I very much respect the fact that the police department, though, has spent time researching this, and hopefully with the precautions that are in place, I think it's,
Well, I agree with you. When the police first approached, I didn't know anything about Flock cameras. I didn't know anything about this. And I do trust their judgment. I don't think that they would ever try to do anything to deliberately hamper village residents or harm them. And I did not pursue this personally just because I trusted their judgment. And
I trust their judgment. Gavin did a good job of pointing out certain things, and I trust also the judgment of the people who's probably against it. Everyone had points. There are good points on all sides here.
oh, absolutely. Yeah, I agree.
I've been aware of Flock for years. I came to the back in 23. I looked into them back at that point in time and spoke out against it then. As someone who's sitting out there, I stood up and spoke out against it because I had concerns then, and it's unfortunate that some of those concerns panned out. It's like some of the worst case scenarios that I suggested when I spoke to the board that day did pan out with people abusing these tools. Now, most people don't. I have no doubt that most people do not abuse these tools, but people there that when you're given the opportunity do abuse them. So we just have to make sure that we protect the residents of the village as much as we can from that kind of abuse. Give the police a tool to use, which is why I prefer, having it be in-house entirely and not go on Flock serves, because I don't trust Flock as a company. They say all the right things when you get on a call with them. They say all the right things, but that's their job, right? They're in the end, they're marketing to us as a customer, so they're going to say the right thing. And if you look at the news reports, if you look at, there's videos of people showing you how easy the cameras are to hack and stuff that are unnerving. That's not something that I like to see happen in the village. But I agree with John, that the police have our best interests at heart too. And they feel like they need this tool. With the limits we put in place, I think we can we move forward, in this room, and then everything else goes across the street and we can debate it.
Yeah, I think it's fine. Okay, anything else on the flat cameras? Okay. Number 5, a resolution to approve Watts Architect and Engineering as the selecting consultant for the New York State EFC wastewater infrastructure engineering planning grant number 2311, based on review and scoring of the RFQ responsive by the Select Committee. Comments, questions on that? Resolution to approve the estimate number 20679 from A24 Outdoor National Incorporated in the amount of $22,820 for the installation of a double-glazed window front at North Fire Hall, 24 West Strollard Avenue, as the lowest responsive quote for this option as a public works service as part of the Clean Energy Communities CEC 2-Star Grant Initiative. Those doors are original to the building, and I believe that was put in '64, so I think we got our money's worth out of them, and I would ask the board to support that. Number 7 is a resolution to approve a revised special event application pursuant to Chapter 285 of the Village Code to add language to require insurance coverage unless expressly exempted by the Village Board, and the inclusion of an event diagram where applicable. An example was in tonight. Art, thank you so much. Again, as we're moving along, I do see more events coming, or events applications coming to us for approval, and this is basically protecting us. And
Are we going to have any policies or procedures going forward to determine when an event requires insurance?
I would think all events should have insurance, but that might be a better question for Art. I mean, it's up to the board, but
There was a time when I was sensitive to certain events. If you've got animals or fireworks or things of that nature, amusement rides, which might expose the public to injury and thereby expose the village to a claim, that I would right off the bat suggest insurance coverage. Then there came a time when one, I'll say it this way, crudely slipped through the cracks, and there was someone who tripped over something in the village, and a claim was asserted against the village, and in that instance, and unless it was an emergency affair or something else, that there was no such agreement that they would get insurance and indemnify the village. At that point, said, well, he asked me to do something about the insurance requirements, and he also brought into the loop Scott Comey to also comment on what might be required. So to cast a broad net, I put in there that everybody is required to get insurance unless by resolution they are exempted. And I think it's a matter of board discussion, but I think to come up with a policy would be very difficult because these events are very in potential exposure. So it would be just a simple resolution. No, if you want to have a garden show or something of that, we're not going to make you jump through those hoops. But if you do want to have rides, then that's something else. So that's where it is right now. But it expressly provides in the proposal that the village board does have discretion to, by resolution, waive this clause.
We have to make sure every time we're approving one that we do not waive, because if we don't waive, then by default, they need insurance.
correct. So, yeah,
So
be mindful of that, and good points, Art. In fact, when we had down in a bigger area there, we had an incident with the ride company. Something broke out on the ride and hit a kid or something like that. Actually, I lose a finger there, but that was on them. But
Yeah,
we were
that
covered.
got my attention. The guy
Yeah.
lost a finger. He was one of the workers that
Yeah.
was, and that really was really worrisome.
Yeah.
Because there's an argument that we did not have insurance coverage. That was a problem.
Yeah, unfortunately, it went into shotgun effect. They're going after the people deepest pockets, and when we could be named, they're going to go after us.
He dodged a bullet.
Yeah. So, concerns, questions on that?
When will that go into effect? Is that immediately, if it passes?
Yes, immediately.
Okay.
If there's a resolution, yes, for the next event. Well, not the events that have been approved, I suppose, not are in the hopper presently.
Applications are coming
Okay,
in.
so, okay.
Next application. we get, yeah.
Okay, anything else? Okay, so we will go into committee
There's one
follow-up.
more resolution, I think.
Second page.
Two-page, yes, I'm sorry, authorizing myself, the mayor, to sign an executive agreement with JMM Construction of Western New York Incorporated for contractor services related to Pleasant Avenue Sanitary Sewer Lateral Rehabilitation Project as the approved contractor per the awarded bid in the amount of $270,317. Sean will probably be back if we have any questions for that. Other than that, we'll move into committee reports, and we'll go with Finance and Claims. Chairman Miller.
Okay, we have a engineering services agreement with William Schutt that Art made some changes to, and I just wanted to, like we spoke about earlier, that's going to go back to Schutt, so we'll wait to see what happens with that.
Okay. Anything for Finance and Claims?
I have something. In regards to the paper streets, first, Art, thank you for kind of taking the ball on that and communicating with residents who are communicating to the village. I actually had a resident call me last week. I didn't catch his name, but he lives adjacent to Bryant. He was explaining that most of the property owners over there are willing to work with each other, but there's one who refuses to come to the table to talk. And he was obviously frustrated because we've said, as our direction to the interested property owners is to come to an agreement. And this resident feels like there's not an agreement to be had due to this one person holding out. So my advice to him at that point was to put it in writing, draft a letter to the village, talk about what you've been able to accomplish with the residents who will discuss the matter, and explain your issues with the remaining resident. At that point, I can't, give him advice either way, on the phone, but I figure at least if we get a letter, it's starting a correspondence, it'll be in the public record to know that most people on the street are willing to play ball, but this one person apparently is not, ready to come to the table. That's it.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but, we have to work with it, and we'll come to some amicable solution, I'm sure. Public Works, Chairman Mickley.
No update right now.
Okay, Public Safety. The only thing that, again, with some of the things that are going on, I did speak to Frank Tadaro about the Clark Street parking lot, and so I think we're going to have to get the Clark Street parking lot and the ADA crosswalk, and we're going to have to get some things together. We'll get some specifications, and we'll see what's going on, but I think we're kind of holding off until we can pave that, or
Right.
one way or the other,
There's
so.
no doubt.
It's still a go, and not a problem at all. The only other thing I have is, it was brought to my attention that our safety committee kind of just faded away. We had a safety committee at one time, it was members of the fire department, the public works department, village board, et cetera, and we really need to reestablish that. So I'm going to work with Wayne, and we'll take that under Public Safety Committee, and we'll get these going again. And there were a lot of good things that came out of it last time. Safety procedures that were recommended and that were implemented. And again, every time we save an injury, it saves us a lot of time, money, and obviously, we don't want any of our people hurt. So I will begin working on that committee. If you want to get 2 or 3 people in mind, Wayne, yourself and a couple of the workers, that
Yeah, no
would probably be
problem.
good. And that's all I have right. Okay, that's good. Human Resources.
Human Resources, I'll be asking for an executive session regarding contract negotiations, not necessarily under Human Resources, but maybe more public safety. I'd just like to, my thanks to the Village Fire Department, Police Department, we're all there. I was kind of in the wrong place at the right time within the last week or so for an accident on Aurora Street. And when I see the crosswalk things here that previous board member Maciejewski had worked hard on, there was an accident in the area where a pedestrian was struck. And my thanks to the Village Fire Department, Police Department, Lancaster Volunteer Ambulance. But again, her crosswalk is frequently used, and unfortunately there was an accident, but it was used in the right way. Just unfortunately there was an accident.
Okay.
Other than that, I have nothing else.
Okay. Community events?
Community events, just approving the 2 applications that are in there. My thanks to Art. I had seen what he had sent me, but my thanks to him for putting everything else together for the application. Other than that, I have nothing else.
You're talking about the agreement with Hammer, right?
Correct, yeah,
For the 4th of July.
correct.
Okay. Anything else?
No, I don't.
Does the color run still need to be in there? We approved that last meeting, right? That already happened?
I believe, no, we had waited on that. I believe at the time we didn't have enough from the police department, but there is, it can be approved.
Okay, economic development, at this time I have no report. Sewer, Chairman Michael?
I did want to go into tonight an update on the red dye in the water. It's kind of a fairly lengthy update, so I'd rather save it for the regular meeting.
Sure.
If that's okay. Sean, did we plan on giving any update, or is that why you're here? On anything?
No, it's fine.
Okay, just making sure. Thank
Okay.
you.
That's it?
Yeah.
All right, very good. Grants, Chairman O'Brien?
I'll hold it. I've got a lot to go over. I'll just go over it in the regular meeting.
Okay, tech and marketing?
Nothing to report.
Climate smart?
I'll say it now and I'll say it again later. You guys doing a great job with the trees. It is awesome driving around and just seeing future tree-lined streets, right? The trees are there, they're just little sticks for now, but in a few years, we'll be back to having tree-lined streets throughout the village, and my neighborhood looks great, and 'cause I was on the list this year. And they're out there today mulching and hammering in stakes, and yeah, always willing to take a second to chat about stuff, and it was good, so great job. Yeah. And I will also say, it's not climate smart related, but it's DPW related. Greg Day asked me to pass along his thanks for the DPW guys that worked the Sabres game on Thursday. He said they were an incredible crew, and we should be proud, and I am proud. Yeah, thank you. That's it.
Okay, well, let's take it away. Hi Karen, how are you?
Hi, everybody.
So as you don't know, this is Karen Howard from Senator Galvin's office. You have the best job, right?
Pardon?
You have the best job in the office,
I
right?
do. This is what I get paid for.
Because she's the most efficient, that's why it's the best job.
That's it. He's right, absolutely right.
Okay, we got about 10 minutes till the meeting, so.
Shortened.
You got a minute? Can we talk?
Sure.
Okay. I've got 10 minutes, but I promise not to take them. I sent to the board a couple of letters that I drafted, primarily because one of the residents adjacent to Daggett, Paper Street, asked me for a status report. So I think we should give her a status report, and everybody else along that street. And also, since I did assume responsibility with regard to the paper streets, there's no reason why we couldn't move forward on Florence too. So I think it was just today or yesterday, I did something on Florence. I think Daggett might be something that, if you want to discuss it tonight, we might want to discuss it in conference or confidential consultation with council.
Sure.
Or if you don't feel that's necessary, or maybe not discuss it tonight, but there are an array of options.
Okay.
And that's all I need to say now.
I'll shut up live stream and get ready for